morning. Good morning. How's your Sunday? How's everybody doing? I've been blessed with driving, traveling in good weather today, so thank goodness. Yesterday was a shit show. And y'all bear with me because I'm day two on the road. It's not getting any better than this. Yes, I am in my Uber. 100%. I mean, I'm shocked how triggered we got some people yesterday. The messages I've gotten, oh my God, crazy. I'm gonna wait until everybody else gets here. Hey, Cherry.
Hey there.
Yeah, hey, can you let Casey up?
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna mention other creators right now. I just saw what happened in that live. I was watching. Um,
Yeah. I I can I can invite, but I don't see Casey.
yeah, she was just in here. She might have stepped out for a minute, but she just requested. I
Okay.
got her.
Yeah, I'm super annoyed right now, but I'm gonna shut up.
Good morning.
It's a personal. It's not even an attack on the case. It's a personal attack. So we're gonna let them see. When I come live, not no other creators are living rent free in my head. I could care less what they're talking about. And obviously, we're bringing some traction to the thoughts that we're having, or they wouldn't be worried about what we're over here saying. Because I don't worry.
Uh,
Mackenzie Shrilla didn't kill her boyfriend. So,
yeah, I'm just saying like everybody is a lot, and that's the whole like purpose of true crime. Like we all have an opinion, and I would hope that we question our judicial system sometimes when it needs to be
right,
questioned. And
exactly.
when you're not willing to question things or you're not willing to have an open mind, I think one, that's very ignorant. But it's just a personal attack on us because there are thousands of other creators doing lives that are, saying the exact same things that we are saying. But instead of,
Yeah.
it being said in a general sense, it's an attack on you and I.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not even going to mention their names. I could care less what they say. I don't even think about them when I'm live. I don't care what their opinion is. I don't watch their lives. I don't pay attention to what they're saying. Again, these are the same creators who think Mackenzie Shrilla didn't kill her boyfriend. They're her best friend. So, I really don't care. I hope they have a good day, and I hope they spend all day focusing on us and what we're saying. Because it's
Yeah.
silliness.
It seems
It's
like
silly, but
they're only focused on what we're doing, so whatever.
always, always. Like I said, I live rent free in that woman's head 24 hours a day. It's weird. It's so weird. But anyways, let's move on. I watched a lot on the case last night. I watched a lot of investigation. A lot of the other creators were doing, and there is a lot here. I mean, I started to write down the inconsistencies, and I was up to 23 last night, and then I was so tired from traveling, I just went to sleep. But there are 23 hard inconsistencies with Patrick's story that he has some explaining to do if I was a lawyer on the other side. If I was the defense, he better have a real good explanation on why these inconsistencies are there, because every single one of them point to him and not her. Nothing. So I would really like somebody on the other side to come up and tell us how this happened, how it happened, if it didn't happen the way that we think it happened, because I don't see it any other way at all.
Right. And it's okay that if they do see it the other way, that's okay. Again, everybody is entitled to an opinion. Just be respectful.
Yeah, I just haven't had anybody come up and convince me otherwise. I mean, there hasn't been one creator who's come up here who has given us anything solid that I can go, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It just hasn't happened. Hold on, I'm trying to read this.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying. It was kind of sad when I was thinking back on when I originally, back in 2023 when I saw this. I think my reaction, because I sat down for a second, I thought, what was it originally that I felt about this situation,
Yeah.
And I remember the picture, I believe, of a dad and his kids. And then I was just, my heart broke in the sense of this woman. I didn't even know any facts. I just thought, oh no, this is terrible. Just like as when you
Right.
see other headlines about a mother who, you know, and so that was, but looking back, it's so interesting because we just didn't know everything that we know now.
Right. Right. And
Well, I'll
that's
be
kind of
honest.
the same with,
I'm sorry.
I mean, Terry was watching this, and no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you. And I came in thinking I didn't even really want to know about it because I was like, great, we've got another Andrea Yates. We failed these women again. What's going on? The only reason I started watching this was because Terry was talking about it, and she wasn't saying the husband did it. She thought the wife did it. And then we started watching, like so many of us, and could see all the inconsistencies that Patrick has told and done, and nothing made sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I mean, help me make it make sense then. You know what I mean? Like, help me make this make sense and tell me how she did this. And nobody's been able to do that. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like anybody's swayed your opinion on the direction that it's Lindsay?
Definitely not mine. And I came into this watching it and immediately was like, this woman is guilty. She's a terrible person. How could you do that to your children? But the more I watch, the more questions I have and the inconsistencies. And I haven't heard one person be able to convince me otherwise. And the thing is that people are like, if he was doing, if he, if there was inconsistencies, the prosecution would have brought that up. Well, no, of course they wouldn't bring it up. They're prosecuting the woman. They want her to be guilty. It is the defense that will bring up those things. And they haven't even started their case yet. So you can't sit there and
Right.
say, oh, well, if he was having an affair, the prosecution would have brought that up. No, that's the opposite. The prosecution would absolutely not bring that up. The defense will,
Right.
and they haven't even started their case.
And I think that's what we've seen Reddington do. He's very short on his cross with everybody, but very precise. He's asking questions that he already knows the answers to. And again, when the defense goes up, that's when he's going to bring it all together. He hasn't had his turn yet. The prosecution is speaking right now. They're not going to bring up any of that. They don't want to talk about the inconsistencies. That's Red's job to do that. And I don't think people realize he hasn't started his job yet. And we're already seeing the inconsistencies. Now imagine when he gets up there and it's his turn. You know,
Yeah, okay.
I
So people say there's no evidence of an affair. Okay, sure. Has it been said he directly had an affair? No. However, 20 days later, he was in Costa Rica with his now new wife. Okay. Not only the 20 days after his children were unalived. Okay. He was in Costa Rica with his now new wife. He did a review and how wonderful it was. She did a review and how wonderful it was. Okay, but let's think about this. The defense, again, has not stated their case. The prosecution is not going to bring those things up. Why? Because they are not for Lindsay, they are for the state. They are trying to prosecute Lindsay. So let's wait before we decide on what is what until the defense actually states their case.
Exactly. It's
I'm just
crazy. I just
saying.
heard somebody say, "Oh, it takes 30 seconds to strangle somebody." No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It takes 30 seconds to knock them out, to make them lose consciousness, not to take their life. It takes minutes to take their life. It takes 30 seconds get up here talking on the internet about something you know nothing about. Google is your friend. Just Google it. It'll tell you right there. Unconscious and unalive are two totally different things. Doesn't take just 30 seconds to do that. But again, these people get up there and they say it because half of the people are going to believe them because they're not smart enough either to just simply Google how long it takes to actually end your life by asphyxiation, not rendering you unconscious.
Did anybody hear that the prosecution has withdrawn the search that they were saying Lindsay had done on how to unalive yourself and methods of S side? And they've withdrawn it and said it didn't exist. And so now it's been taken out of evidence, which means that obviously he can only pursue doors that they open. So they've closed the door on something fairly critical, which was when she was supposed to be at the doctor's, the search that was happening would be confirmed as, well, she wasn't in the house. He was the only one in the house, and it was his PC logged in via his Google into her Facebook, and then all these searches that sort of also crossed over interest areas that he had, plus these additional searches and the how to disengage the airbags of the Kia Sorento and or whatever she had. And it's very interesting that they've now decided, now that it's been proven that she wasn't even in the house during the searches, prosecution's now decided that that never happened. Because I think that really goes to the point of what I think a lot of people are going, what's going on? And we are seeing globally a rise up of people saying things are not making sense. Wait, why would he be looking that up? Surely she would. And she's looking up free colouring in pictures and, you know, why has my baby got a bloated tummy? And, you know, could I have hurt my baby if I did, you know, sleep training for 2 nights? And I mean, it makes no sense. So it's very interesting to me that a key piece of evidence that would, and we should be looking for the truth here, right? A key piece of evidence that would support that, you know, that wasn't her looking it up. Now they're like, oh, actually, no, sorry, that never happened, and it's been signed in that it never happened, like it was never looked up. Wow, you need to get coffee at a different coffee shop, my love. You're in the wrong cafe, baby.
Right? God bless. Excuse me.
How is a lady supposed to be having a coffee with loud truck drivers driving down the road?
I know.
Anyway, that's my thought. What do you think?
So did you say that you saw that they are asking to take that out of evidence?
No, they did ask, and it's been, it's all in, it's there, like the proper format. My husband is a lawyer, and he has a doctorate in criminal law and a doctorate in business law. And so I see all of the way you have to put it all together, and I know it all so well at sight. Like, I don't know what they're all called because I'm quite frankly not interested in the names of things. But it was actually a motion that was put forward over the weekend, and there's a lot of discord happening between the two. And I don't know if it's been approved, but I believe it has been approved. But obviously, don't quote me on it because that's what I saw. That was my assumption, but I'm second guessing everything right now.
Yeah, I bet. I know how I feel about this, but I'm waiting for Red. I am waiting for him to get up there because I really feel like, and I felt like this since day one, that he is about to pull everything together and paint a completely different picture. We've seen where the judge says there is no admission of guilt here. You know, she's never said she was guilty. I think Red is going to paint the picture and show that she wasn't even capable of doing this. Like if it's how he says, then the possibilities it didn't happen. You know, I really do. I feel like that's what I watched this for watching it so well, and you watch them do the same thing during the whole trial. They would drop these breadcrumbs, and then at the end, it was, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. And everybody, I mean, what could you say? Because it didn't happen. If you're basing everything on this, and this,
Look, I think, and it's true. And
doing.
not Night's Cloud has just said, feelings is an evidence, and that's absolutely true. So when we try to look at the evidence, and I think this is where we're confused, we're just talking about the capacity of Lindsay to be found guilty of this, and the time frame that we now know is starts at an email is sent at 5:24. That's in evidence, and then it would take a couple of minutes for him to get out the door and head off to do the pharmacy stop and the other. So let's just only look at the timeline for Lindsay, and so let's just say 54. The email is sent, and then Patrick heads off to get dinner and pharmaceutical goods. And so that's about 56, 57 by the time he's out the driveway, and she's watching out the window, let's just say, looking out the window going, okay, he's gone, I've got to get going. And then we also have in evidence now that the neighbor's son called his father at 5:50 and said, Dad, the woman next door is lying outside. And as he was on the phone to his father over a period of time, then eventually there's people screaming, and then there's police arriving, and then there's ambulances arriving, and blah, blah. So we know that now our time frame is 56-ish until 26 to 50. Now, in that time, she has to take 3 individual children downstairs into the basement, and then each one individually needs to be, I can't even bear it. And so that needs to happen. Then she needs to come up into the kitchen. I'm just going to go through this timeline, because what do we got? We got 24 minutes. And then she's got to, so that, what do you reckon that would take? I don't even want to speculate. But, I mean, it's not going to take 2 minutes. There's going to be a little bit, even if we, with sort of said 5 minutes, it's only taking us to like 35, we'll say 34. Now she's got to go upstairs, close the basement door, go to the kitchen, get a blade, get her cup that says because children, get the medication that was not in the house. And we don't know where she got the medication, because that one was discontinued on the 5th, and she had given it, as Patrick Clancy said on the stand, her doctor said, give the medications that have been discontinued to your husband. And he had them all. He had a bag that was in his centre's console. He turned into the police the next day. He had bags of them to hand over, but he was a bit busy. He didn't get them all over. So there's a bag somewhere, but he's gone off in the car. So where did she get the medicine from? Who knows? So now she gets the medicine. It's a slow release medication, but she's a nurse and she knows this, but she crushes it anyway, even though it's not effective. And she puts it in lemonade, which is citric acid, which doesn't work with medication, and slows the processing down and mutes it a bit. So now we kind of got crushed medication in lemonade and a blade, and now we're going upstairs. And she then goes into the room. Apparently she locks the door, and then she goes and moves the bed, and then she does one wrist and she does the other wrist, and then she does her neck.
Shane, wait a minute. She couldn't have locked the door yet because there was blood outside the door.
Well, this is the thing. Well, no, I would suggest she either left it open.
She couldn't have locked the door yet. The door was still open because she couldn't have locked the door because there was
the
blood
door was
outside
still
the door
open.
and the door jammed. Right.
And I'll tell you why the door was still open. Because there is none of the red stuff on the internal door handle. And if it had already been closed, it would have had to have something on it, or some splashing. The other thing we don't have is a trail of drips from where she did this to the door in order to put that red stuff on the outer handle and then put drips outside the door. That sort of more lends to someone's walked out, pulled the door handle behind them. That's what my logical brain says, right? So now she's on the side of the bed. She's done these injuries. She has to get up and not drip all the way over to the door because there is no drippage to the door. There is drippage where she was supposed to have done this. So she stops herself from doing any on the carpet. She gets over there, she opens the door, or maybe it wasn't closed, and then she pulls the handle from the outside, but somehow she locks it without making there any stain on the inside. And now we go back over to the bed and we sit there long enough to drip and create a puddle from superficial cuts, just superficial. And we've made a big puddle on the floor and it's dripped on all the surfaces. She sat there for ages or enough time to create enough mess with superficial cuts. And then she has to climb over the bed because the bed's now been moved, but I don't know how or why. But anyway, the bed's been moved and it's now in front of the nightstand, which is under the window that she has to climb out. But there's no blood stain there's no foot marks from her bare feet, and there's no blood stain on the bed that she had to sort of climb over, and there's no foot marks under the window from her feet standing there in the area that she was dripping. And then she can only get one handprint on the windowsill, even though she has to climb over the nightstand to get out the window, and then somehow she has to slap on the way down with both her hands and wrists the wall, which would have been from like just below her thigh height. She has to slap both of those on the wall on the way down, hit herself on the head, and then sort of roll with her feet away from the house. And then she has to lower her body temperature with all these injuries. Oh, and she's also got to crush her thyroid. And then she's got to lower her body temperature down to the high 70s, low 80s, and all in the time frame of 24 minutes.
Didn't happen. And nobody's going to tell me it happened that way. Night Cloud, I see you down there, but you're not listening. We are stating facts that were brought by the prosecution. That's how they're saying this had to have happened. And it simply couldn't have happened. And let's not forget that the neighbor saw her out there 10 minutes till. Our timeline is cut at another 10 minutes because his son has the call log from when he called his father and said, hey, I see our neighbor laying out on the backyard. And he's like, oh, okay, let me get home and check on that at 10 till 6. So now you have to cut that timeline another 10 minutes. There's absolutely no way that she did that here. Just tell me how she cuts herself over on this side of the room, that walks to the door, like Shane said, doesn't manage to drip anything anywhere, gets blood on the outside door handle, on the outside door frame, but when she shuts the door and locks herself in, there's no blood on there and no drippage on the floor, but there's a pool of it like this over here where she just, I guess, stood and just let herself bleed out without getting her footprint in it or anything. Climbed over the bed, the nightstand, threw herself out the window, slapped herself against the house wall. How do you even suppose this happened?
Hey, does anybody see Shay requesting up? I can't see her requesting up, and she says she did, and I can't invite her.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm here. I made it.
Hi.
Hey.
I mean,
And if they hadn't, if the police had an alibi
exactly.
for Patrick, then why are they not looking for a possibility of a third party? You know, what if some rando came in and maybe she had a stalker? I mean, we don't know. But how is there not even some consideration to the fact that the timeline just does not make sense? If I was on the jury, based on the evidence they presented, I could not say, oh yeah, for sure, guilty. If I was on the jury, I just would not have the evidence to say yes.
Certainly reasonable doubt, isn't there?
Reasonable
Did
doubt.
you guys see the TikTok I just sent? That lady was looking at the bedroom photos and the nightstand has blood splatters under the leg. Like it was moved over the blood. Like,
What the hell?
But there's no
I don't
handprints on the nightstand, right?
keep going.
yeah.
So how does that happen? How does after
so
the fact?
staged. It's so staged.
Oh, I don't think we can make like blanket statements, but I mean certainly very
Allegedly.
fishy. Yeah,
Well, we can say there's reasonable doubt. There's absolutely
there's reasonable
nothing
doubt.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of
But
reasonable doubt.
guys, I'm going to have to go because I've just had a massive roast dinner and I'm in a food coma.
Oh,
Mm.
lovely.
That sounds yummy.
Katie.
I haven't done a roast dinner for ages, and I treated myself to this Ninja Crispy that's on special offer.
Ooh.
Sorry, guys.
Oh,
If you
yummy.
haven't got one, get one.
Lovely.
Right, I will see you guys later. Yeah, have fun.
All right, bye, darling.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Okay, Lindsay, what's Nightcloud saying? Okay, Nightcloud, let's have a look at your stuff. So 4:53, Lindsay texts Patrick. At home, she texts him, to say what he had to get, like to send a picture. Oh, you're muted, my love. Jen, you're muted.
No, she's on a call. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. So Nightcloud has said 53. Lindsay texts Patrick. And again, you know, we're looking at things like, why did he walk in with an Apple Watch with a pink dusky band on his finger into the first place? And why was there a second phone? And again, it's just creating reasonable doubt. 5:06, 5:08 dinner arrangements. 5:15, I don't know. You're saying that's when he left? Let me see if I can find some more. Oh, here we go. I found some more. Patrick leaves at 5:15. 5:24, Patrick's work email. Do we have evidence, by the way, that that's from his laptop or from his... I guess the defense will bring that. And then we've got Patrick and CVS. Yes, we saw those things. And then 5:54, surveillance shows Patrick at 3V directly from the transcripts. Yep, we've seen all that. Keep on going. Yeah, we know he's definitely... We've seen him. Yeah, you know, these are all the things we've seen. But I'm not that interested in Patrick's, like, what he's doing. I'm just talking about her capacity in the time frame she had, which is whatever. You're saying that the email occurred outside the house. Top at home, but I just need that confirmed, so I'm actually waiting for Red to do that. So I guess, you know, I've seen the stuff with Patrick. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is there not even a doubt that a third person... I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. I'm just trying to understand the truth.
Sorry, y'all.
Especially if this was done to her, not by her. I think everyone should be at least open-minded at this point to say, there's a woman here who's lost all her children and who is in a wheelchair, and she's lost her husband and any potential future for children and a life and joy and running and all the things she enjoyed. We better really make sure that she did it before we put her behind bars until her last dying breath. Because the reality is, it would be really inappropriate if we hadn't even heard all the evidence yet and we had already made up our mind.
It's
I agree.
super irresponsible not to have an open mind and question things. I think it's super irresponsible. We should question things. Especially when the evidence is out there and we're already questioning stuff before the defense even starts. I mean, it would be so irresponsible of the jury and of us as spectators that are watching to not say, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. Because ultimately, this woman can go to prison for the rest of her life or a mental institution for the rest of her life. And so this is like, we should question these things.
I feel like if it was so black and white, like she did it, we would not be here questioning things. Like if the evidence was all accurate and done the investigation was done properly, I feel like there would be no questions that we would be asking because all the evidence would point to her. And right now, it's kind of up in the air. It's really not pointing towards her.
And I don't
think
really
she would have
understand.
admitted that she was guilty, but by reason of insanity or psycho, whatever you want to say, she would say, yes, I'm guilty. But this is why. That's not what she's done. She has not put in a guilty plea at all. She's put in a not guilty. And then if you find her guilty, she wants you to think she was insane when she did it or out of her mind.
Right.
But she doesn't have a guilty plea, and she could have easily said, I'm guilty, but I wasn't in my right mind. She has not done that.
Stay in the left 2 lanes.
But
I don't
also,
know why
And
people
everyone
do that.
wants to refer back to the civil suit, but
Is your husband taking you
Patrick's-
home, darling?
But Patty put the civil suit in first, and she just took what he put and put it into hers. So nowhere does it actually, is that her words? That's all Patty. Pissy Pat.
The other thing is, you know, understanding she had a traumatic brain injury, she doesn't remember the event. And then, you know, being told when she wakes up that she'd done all these things. And I don't know about you, but I have a very visual mind. So the way I process a lot of things is like in pictures in my head. Like the story will unfold as someone's telling me a story, and they're like, and then I went down the beach and I was kicking the sand and the sun was up, the moon was up and it was dark, but there was phosphorescent sand and it was spraying blue, and I could see all of it. Now, if she's being told, and then you went down into the basement and did that, and I was in a psychotic state, or if I was in absolute, you know, bereft state and being told I did all this, I may picture it too. I just, honestly, that's what worried me, you know, from the beginning. My question is, if she's confessed, and I've heard all these people saying she's confessed, I know that Patrick has heard these things, so it's Patrick's word against hers. But if she's confessed, why has it not been brought to evidence? I'm really confused about that. Does anyone know why?
Because it never happened.
But
Yeah,
why
there is no
hasn't?
confession. I haven't found one. Has
Surely
anybody else
she's
found a
confessed.
she was only told that she did this. That's that's what it boils down to. She was told that she did this within 24 hours. There was a warrant for her arrest and she was being charged. They interviewed Patrick. They did not investigate Patrick, but she was told she did this. That's what it boils down to, because she doesn't remember anything.
They had charged her and she wasn't even awake yet.
Yeah.
She was still
Yeah, she was
unconscious
still
in the
in a coma.
hospital.
You would think that you would be able to question her, you know, when she wakes up. And then when she did wake up, she could only speak via pen and paper for 5 days. So how has she told anyone anything before that anyway? Just things don't make sense. You know, I'm from Australia,
No, it doesn't.
if you couldn't tell. And I came into this case, I work in this field, and I work with moms who are struggling. And what caught me about this case was years ago, when it happened, I was like, what an absolute tragedy. How did she slip through the gaps? How were these babies not protected? How did they not see that she'd done it? So I came to this particular case, open and shut case in my head. She had confessed. I read all the articles. I was really, you know, wanting to see what went wrong, where, you know, that family did not get the support, where those babies were not protected. That was my absolute stance coming into it. And just, I wasn't looking into it, but before that, nothing, not interested. I was so utterly shocked by the evidence being presented and nothing lined up, particularly the method. I mean, even at the time, I was like, my God, for a mother to do that, because, you know, I work for an organization against abuse and neglect, and it's a very XY chromosome sort of coded style of end. And so it was, to me, I was like, it's such a violent crime as well. It just made no sense to me. So, you know, I didn't come into this assuming there was even a possibility that I would question if she did it. So imagine my shock when, after days of watching it, I started going, well, what on earth, and started looking it up and trying to see if anyone else was feeling the way I was, which was, every single red flag in my heart was going, wait a minute, have we got the right person? Did someone do this to her? Was there an intruder? Her husband was out of the house. Was there an intruder? Has anyone considered any other possibilities here?
I agree,
That's where
Shelly.
I'm at.
I came in with the 100% she is guilty. How could a mother do that? I had already, convicted this woman, and I started talking to Jen about it because I started watching the trial while I was working, and then the inconsistencies and the weird stuff started coming up, and I started to talk to Jen about it more. And then she started watching it because I was like, am I crazy? Am I really thinking this way? Because I'm a mom myself. Like, I could never fathom hurting your children. And it's not something that I could ever even imagine. And so she was guilty in my eyes. But I'm sorry. There's too many questions, and we would be so irresponsible not to question it. And that's just how I feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with all of you. And I don't think that makes us crazy. Or I've seen somebody saying, oh, so-and-so is going to represent him in this case against all of you when it's done. Well, go ahead, because this is our First Amendment right in the United States. I don't know about the UK and Australia, but we have the right to free speech here in the United States. And there's not a lot you can do to stop it. So,
oh my gosh, are they going to go for almost every creator on TikTok? Because
I know.
on my FYP, literally everybody is talking about this case. Either they're for Lindsay or they're against Lindsay. Either way, I don't care. You're allowed to have an opinion. And we always state that these are opinions and thoughts. This is our feelings about it. It is a true crime community. And if you're not open-minded, then honestly, you really shouldn't be in the true crime community.
Right. Exactly. You shouldn't be. But again, like I said, the people who think that there's not a possibility that she didn't do it think Mackenzie Shrill is innocent. So it's like I'm not even gonna worry about what other people think. It's none of our business. I think that he has set up a foundation to show it, to put us all together when he tells the story, when he brings his witnesses up. Because I can assure you, Reddington already knows what happened with that watch. I can assure you that he already has the timeline down. If he thinks for a second that they don't know how long the kids had been gone, the prosecution, I'm shocked they didn't bring that up. Because one of them
they didn't for a good reason.
A lot longer than the other two. I'm surprised the prosecution hasn't brought that up, to be honest with you.
Because maybe if they bring it up, then because they have to open the door in order for Red to cross it. So if they don't bring it up, he can't bring any evidence that he has disputing it or whatever. One thing I will say is I do keep hearing, and I've seen the civil suit now, I've read the civil suit, and I've read, what's in it. My question is, guys, why, if that confession is worth a damn, if it's worth the weight that everyone is putting into it, why has the prosecution not presented that just straight off the bat?
Because
to
they
the
can't,
jury?
that civil suit cannot be used in this trial, because that civil suit, while it does have something to do with this trial, they cannot use that as evidence. And the fact that when one of the police officers was on the stand and they were there when Dr. Z came to see Lindsay, and then he went and spoke with his colleagues, and that's when that rumor came about of that call happened and she confessed. But Reddington even shut that down literally, because he said that is all speculation. Like, that is basically a police rumor that she confessed, because that was Reddington's doctor. That's Dr. Z is Reddington's doctor. He sent him in there. So that's why that civil suit cannot, that is a whole different ball game. That's its own case. So they cannot use that as evidence in this trial.
And I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but really quick, this civil suit. So if she is found not guilty, and I may be wrong, so I'm asking, if she is found not guilty, that civil suit can be changed, right? Like they could take out
Yes.
her
I
confession.
think it would have a huge impact on the outcome. Yeah, for
I
sure.
Because
don't know.
that
I
civil
don't think
suit,
it
she
can be, so I
copy
don't
and
know.
pasted it from Patrick put that civil suit in way before she did. And they actually filed it together because they were still married. Like he did this really fast after. And that confession is all his words. Like he
So
went in
yeah,
and said she
Nightcloud
said
said it's
this.
Nightcloud said it is Patrick Clancy's testimony on July 29th, 2026, day 2. Oh, but that's only on but so Patrick Clancy's testimony is only what he claims she said to him
Yeah.
on the 911 call. So I just want to say to everyone regarding that, he was on the call to 911 and the jury would have heard if she did or didn't say it. So that's
Right.
just, I guess we don't have to worry about it because they would have heard what he claims she said. So,
Yeah, I would think.
right? So that's the first one. And then the second one is that I believe he told her, she told him on a private phone call, which is what all this hoopla was about, where they were going to blame a doctor for putting it in her mind and loaning her a phone to tell him that. But it's only his word against hers in that private phone call, isn't it? Or did she admit it to somebody else? And if so, who? And I think that
We don't know that part yet.
Yeah, because Nightcloud might know why. Where is that thing? Like I've heard voices telling me to do it. Nightcloud, do you know where that information came from? Because you
From what I
seem to know
understand,
that
that's
stuff.
his testimony that she said she was hearing voices telling her to hurt the children. I have to look, and again, I'm traveling, but I'm almost positive I read that he had reported that she had told him this. Everything is coming from Patrick. I know. I think that's what Reddington also did. Was he got the medical professionals up there. She never said anything like that to them, ever.
Never.
She only said
no.
she was worried something was going to happen to her children.
Right.
Every single doctor on that stand said Lindsay was saying she was worried something bad was going to happen to her children. That was it.
Like they would get sick and I posted something today. I work in this field. And so, someone might be like, I don't want to push them in the pram in case I slip on a twig and my foot goes out from under me and then the pram flies off onto the road. So I don't go out and push the pram anymore. Or I don't walk downstairs carrying my baby in case I fall and I land on top of them. And they're these irrational fears that sort of manifest into this is possible. I can't drink tea if I'm in the same room as my baby, because if I'm walking and I trip and the tea flies across the room and then I scald my baby. And so these are kind of those terrifying, anxious thoughts. And she's definitely reported on those.
Right.
But I didn't hear anything in her reporting that manifested tantamount to wanting to do something to them, other than what Patrick said, because everything else was, is he sick? Is he going to get sick because the kids go to kindy? Maybe I should pull the kids out of kindy, and that way the poor baby doesn't have to keep getting sick. Should I just stay up all night and get no sleep rather than sleep train? Because what if I damage him if I let him cry? Not I want to do something to them.
Shannon, did you know that you were up here? Did you have something you wanted to say? I don't think she knows. I'm going to drop her.
Well, then we need to hear it, Nightcloud. Why is he asking that it's not to be played? Let's hear it. Did you hear it? No, you didn't hear it.
But Nightcloud, Patrick is the only one saying that she talked to him. The EMS, the fire department, the police officers are all saying
you can hear it in the 911 call, and you can't. He hasn't even heard the 911 call.
No, I read the 911 transcripts. There's nothing about Lindsay in the background except for the gurgling noises. She didn't talk, and the EMS, fire department, and cops all said that she was unresponsive when she got there. She couldn't even talk in the hospital for what, a week, 2 weeks?
Now, Nightcloud is saying that the jury has heard her saying it. I did see a TikTok today by someone who, I don't know who they were, but they were reading it, and then somehow he was supposed to have worked out from gurgles that it said in the basement. But he's just saying that. That's hearsay again. I didn't hear it. Why would that call? Well, you know what? I can understand why he wouldn't want that call public. I don't see why his phone had to be not sort of investigated. That would have been helpful. Just looks a bit suspicious, doesn't it, to not do that? Not
Yeah, he only took
forthcoming.
the stand and gave his witness statement if his phone records were sealed. That was the only way he was getting up on that stand, if they sealed his phone records.
We're talking about a triple murder here, and we should be sealing anything.
Yeah. If you're innocent, why does it matter if we see your
Right.
phone record? Like, what? That's such a red flag to me.
You're going to put this woman in prison for the rest of her life and we can't see your phone records? Why? Who are you talking to? What were you doing that I can't see that? That alone doesn't tell people that he's got some involvement in this. Just too many things that lead to Patrick. And it's sad. I'm going to be, at least with Lindsay, I could say she was in psychosis. She didn't mean to do this. This was a terrible thing, that medical professionals mistreated her. But instead, I have to wrap my mind around that a whole ass fucking man once again annihilated his whole family for a piece of ass. That's what we have to wrap our mind around if we're right. And I would much rather.
And a whole police department helped him cover it up. What's that about? What else is out there?
Do we want that? No, we don't want this at all. But I'd rather think that somebody was very ill when this happened, like Andrea Yates, and thank God, what have we done? We need to help women, and it showed that we need to help women, and not that another man has tried to pin something on their wife like Chris Watts did with Shanann. He tried to say Shanann off the girls too, because he had a piece of ass waiting on the side. You think this is impossible? This isn't possible? We've seen it's possible. Why is it so impossible this time? I don't understand.
I think Nightcloud, you have to understand that we watched Chris Watts get up on that veranda and say, where is she? And I don't know where she is. And then sit on the lie detector test saying he had no idea and he and then he said she did it. And so he got revenge on her. And then he said, actually, you know what? I just did it all. And then he confirmed it all step by step, word by word, later on in the jail. And now he's blaming his lover for making him do it. And so, and he's getting married again. So, is it a surprise that though this case is entirely different, it's not exactly out of the realm of possibility that someone like that could do, well, a husband could do something like this. We're not suggesting we've seen all the evidence or that we know that yet. It's just, I think it's insane having only heard half of the evidence that's going to be brought, Nightcloud, that you are just so open and shut on this when we haven't even heard the defense's evidence. Surely you're wanting the truth and true justice for those babies. And surely you're wanting to make sure that the right person is behind bars.
And Reddington might get up on here this week and just make us all look stupid. He might just go with this whole psychosis thing, and we've just been reading too much into it. But I don't think he is. I'm old enough to remember original court TV, the OJ trial, the Susan Smith trial. We've seen this before. Chris Watts. There's so many I could name. So many. It's. I don't think there's anything wrong with us sitting up here watching this and picking it apart. Because if it does come out that it was Patrick, then what are you guys going to say then? Couldn't have been him. It was. Don't you stop comparing him to Chris Watts? No, we've seen this happen.
They're going to be like,
times.
oh, she framed him. She framed him.
Come on, I know. I can't.
And this is also it's also not like a men-women issue, because we've watched, the Daybell crazies, and we've seen the Jody Hildebrandt crazies, and they were just as guilty as sin. Those cases were so evident. I mean, they were just terrific. And so it's not.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go, darling.
I was going to say, if you go back and you watch the testimonies, you will catch them in a lie. Like, you can catch them in their lies. Like, the cops are saying that Cora was found first, but yet one cop is saying that he walked in and Patrick was with Dawson first. So it's like, which one is it? Like, you guys had 3 years to get your story straight, and you still are up there lying on the stand. Like, you're blatantly lying.
Exactly. Night Cloud, we won't either. That's what I'm saying. You can't fault us for seeing inconsistencies and what's been presented. We didn't come here with these. They were shown to us. So if we're using our critical thinking skills and we're digging into this, it's because there are people on Earth that we've seen, like Chris Watts, that have annihilated their family for a piece of tail. You can't be mad at us for picking it apart and thinking about it. Now, if he comes in next week and he goes straight for that psychosis thing and he doesn't pick this apart, why did they bring up the anniversary thing with his wife? Because he already knows he wasn't there with his wife. He knows he was there with the girlfriend. He wants him to lie. That's what a good lawyer does. He sets you up, he lets you talk, he lets you lie, and he's going to annihilate you at the end. That's what he's about to do with that. It has nothing to do with her psychosis. What's it matter if they were out on a date on his anniversary? He was just with the wrong woman. He was in Costa Rica. We know that with her. I mean, you leave it TikTok, they'll figure it out.
And Night Cloud, you just have to, we haven't even hit defense yet. Like, the fact is that you shouldn't be here going, it's absolutely an impossibility that he didn't do it or she did do it, or it is absolutely certain it's totally her, until you've actually heard all the evidence. And that's the thing that concerns me, is that if there's like corruption anywhere on a higher scale, there's going to be a whole lot of campaigns to hush people up and to really push narratives. And I mean, the prosecution's had a 3-year narrative media campaign with beautiful articles about, Patrick and his bachelor pad and his, this life. Now, if this happened to him, I hope I am completely wrong. I hope.
Yeah.
And I don't want any of this to have happened, but it's happened. The best of all the hideous scenarios that we are all facing to try to come to terms with is that it was a moment of pure psychosis. I hope that's what it boils down to. Let me be wrong. But why doesn't it look right?
Shane, I don't think Reddington would have accepted the GoFundMe if he didn't know she was about to get off. I do not think he would have put her parents in that position to take we're at 600-something thousand now, and just since yesterday, when it was 300 yesterday morning, I don't think he would have allowed Lindsay's parents to take all this money that's been raised had he not thought he was going to get her off because of the backlash they could have gotten if she's found guilty. I don't think he would have let him take it. I really don't. That's just another thought I had on it last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And,
I don't think
and in terms of like dishonesty, and you want the transcripts, the big mic drop moment that we had was that the DA were going to, or the police, the prosecution were going to put together that Dr. Z went in there and planted information in her mind to say, ring him and tell him you heard voices, and use my phone. And then the police testified because he said, isn't it true that this is a story that was made up? Because that was my doctor, and you're trying to frame me for making her plea an insanity plea, but it's a setup. But the police then said, no, that was just banter. That was just a theory we were throwing around. And that was lies. So they were, coming at it to say that it was going to be that. They were trying to present it as that. And then it was found out to be lies.
Yeah.
So
one thing after another. Welcome.
And then the other big lie is that they've been testifying that for days, the prosecution has been testifying that Lindsay looked up how to yourself and how to do all these things and how to cut your, that red pumper in your neck to unalive yourself. And it turns out that was Patrick's login to her Facebook looking up his favorite music artist and how he died, and then all these other questions. And then today, over the weekend, the prosecution's now withdrawn all that evidence and said, no, it never happened.
Right.
And so now it can't be
Why?
cross-examined and it can't be disproved. So there's another lie, Nightcloud.
Why was he
Well,
looking up
look at the transcripts,
how to cut the
Nightcloud.
carotid artery? How come Patrick was looking that up that morning? Where is the carotid artery located? In a million years, in fact, I'm going to be in the Houston Med Center this week. I'm going to walk up to every nurse and ask them, do you know where the carotid artery is? And I guarantee everyone looks at me like I've lost my mind or have two heads. Well, do you really think she's looking up where is the carotid artery or how to unalive yourself? She's an RN, for God's sake. She could do it in a matter of seconds.
And
Why
why
would
did
he
she
be
cut?
looking that up? That doesn't.
Nightcloud.
Why did her wrist have the wrong angle? And why, if she's, you have to understand, for nurses, they're accessing central lines for mainstream medication into jugulars. They know they have to line people. I mean, yes, central lines are put in during surgeries and stuff, but they still have to change those dressings. They still have to administer medication through jugular central lines, through chest central lines. There's no way she's looking that up. So
No.
who is looking
Why
it
is
up
he?
and why?
Well, we already got it all
Nightclub.
proven that he did
You
it.
want-
He was with doctors.
You want the okay, I'll give you a rundown. Go watch Cahill. I can't remember his name. Go watch his testimony, and then go watch the guy whose last name is like Hale or Hall. Go watch his, and then go watch Josephine's testimony, and tell me they aren't all lying. Tell me. Go watch all of their testimonies. They're only about 5 to 20 minutes, depending on who they're questioning. And then go watch the forensic guy and tell me what his title is. What's his job? Tell me what he said his job is, because I'm pretty sure you're going to be blown away whenever he announces what his
Nightcloud, you're
job is.
wrong. She signed into the doctor. She was at the doctor's office with the child while that search was being done at home under Patrick's email and her Facebook. Did you not see? This is what I'm talking about. These people aren't watching. They're obviously not watching the trial, or they don't know how to. Are you kidding me? Like, we just saw this 2 days ago when he went through the forensics with the forensic examiner. When he showed us that she wasn't at home when it happened. She was at the doctor's office, but not her tablet. His.
So who else is in the house doing the search, Nightcloud?
Right.
If she's in a doctor's surgery and it was happening from the house, that search was happening while she was already in the house, who else is doing that search?
Right. The 5-year-old is looking up how to find a carotid artery while she's 5 miles away at the doctor, and it's proven she was at the doctor. Again, that's why he went through that examination, so he could show him the times. And then we see the searches that were done with that time when she wasn't there. She was at the doctor's office.
Hey, I
don't
do
think
have a
people
question,
watch.
girls, playing devil's advocate, like we like to do because we're looking at all the evidence. Is she stopped driving in October, November? I don't know. When did she stop driving?
I think it was
It
like
was testified
November or the year
to.
before.
Okay, so who drove the babies to the doctor's appointment?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, right?
That's a really
I
Did someone
do-
drive her? Was
I-
someone helping her?
I do know that the pediatrician stated in all the years that she was the children's pediatrician, she had only seen Patrick one time. So I don't know, maybe her mom
That's a
took
good
her.
question, because Reddington
But that
did
is a good
state
question.
that she stopped driving, and
I'm
Patrick
gonna look it up
already
real
says
quick.
he was at home. That he
I'm
With
didn't
gonna
the
look-
drive.
mask on, you know who would be able to pull off being Lindsay if they had a little mask on their face?
I'm gonna
Someone's
look
new
it up real quick.
wifey.
See, these are all things that aren't in testimony.
Allegedly.
So they're all allegedly. They're all just thoughts, and obviously in a court of law you can't prove thoughts and you can't prove feelings. So we do need evidence to kind of go off. And yes, we can start to pull together, concepts and ideas. We definitely can do that, but they're all obviously just our ideas. Oh, look who's come to visit.
Oh, Adam.
Hello, Adam.
Okay, so
Hey.
I just looked it up.
Although, Adam, I have to say I'm very disappointed that I heard that you called the ladies a name in the private chat yesterday. I was very, very, hold on, I got a puzzle. I was very shocked that you would do that. I just heard about that this morning, ladies, and I apologize that that happened yesterday in the private chat. I wasn't aware of it.
None of us ever called you names.
Yeah, I
Can you
didn't
guys
know
hear
that
me?
Derek called you a name, and I apologize.
Now we can
I
hear
didn't
you.
know.
Cherry, when you're teacupping, we can't hear you. We can only hear you when you're on the actual panel.
Okay,
My love.
so I just looked it up and it said, according to the prosecution, it stated that Lindsay drove herself to the pediatrician that day. And I'll
That's
share
what
it
I
in
thought
our,
that had been said.
I
I
will
thought
share
it
it in
said
our
that she
group
drove
chat.
her.
It
Okay.
wasn't in the private chat that Adam said that. It was in the comment section yesterday that he was being very rude.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it. So I'm really shocked, Adam. You called them a BITCH yesterday. You said, I'm not Patrick, you BITCHs. I'm really shocked that you would do that, considering that you have a wife and or a partner and a mother or whatever. You shouldn't call names. So yeah.
Wow, that's terrible. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's why
I
he was
didn't
muted.
either.
That's why he
Totally
was
sorry.
muted. Real quick, I did screenshot the information that I just shared that the prosecution stated Lindsay drove herself, and I will share it in our chat so everybody sees that.
I
Okay,
thought he said she
interesting.
did, so I didn't. I said, I'm not Patrick. Never
Yeah.
said that.
And Adam, yeah, so and I told you that they were just joking around, but you were in all caps, you were like, I'm not effing Patrick, bitch. And so like I felt like that was really, and I didn't mute you, somebody else muted you, but I just felt like you were having a bad day, and I hope that you are having a better day.
Drive friendly.
Because
Welcome
you
to Tucson.
you know that we have always joked with you that you were Patrick, and it was never anything serious.
And I'll tell you why we've always joked about you being
Okay,
Patrick,
maybe it was a
Adam.
misunderstanding then.
Is
I
we've
hope
only
it was.
joked because you're quite defensive, and you take things very personally when we're talking about Patrick. So you know that's the only reason we joke that you're Patrick is because you're very defensive if we are talking about anything that we're questioning about the evidence. So you know that's the only reason we do have a bit of a chortle about it because you're super defensive, like it's your husband or you're him.
Now we thought we were just playing with you. We didn't know that you were actually taking offense to it, so we won't do that anymore. We were just playing. I was having a bad day yesterday.
It's
I'm
okay,
very
Adam.
sorry
You
about
can be
that.
sensitive. You're allowed to be sensitive. Men are allowed to be sensitive, and they're allowed to be emotional.
I think it's
I
very
wanna
nice
normalize
that.
that.
You apologize. So let's let him be. Let's just let Adam be.
Yeah, I like you. I really like Adam. I think
I
that
do
he's
too.
a pretty nice guy. I just yesterday I really was trying to give him grace and like get him like off the topic and try and banter with him, but he was just not having a good day, I think.
I even told you, I was like, that sounds like a really off day for Adam because he usually is fun and he jokes around back. So I'm hoping it was just a bad day because we do enjoy having you here. We like picking on you. And look, we do want, oh my God, there's a Whataburger. I got to stop and eat soon because I have driven 16 hours just to get to a Whataburger, and that's what this bitch is about to do. So I love Texas so much, y'all. Can I tell you how much I love Texas?
Wannabes. I'm in Oklahoma, so I'm not.
Are you? Come on.
Yeah.
I love Texas. I'm a Texan. I'm from Houston, so I love Texas anyways. It's what we do. But I love me some Texas. I'm telling you, I'm so happy to be home.
Hey.
Anyway, I know I'm so happy. It's the only place in the world you eat good is in Houston. I'm going to gain 15 pounds while I'm here, and that's okay. Anyways, yeah, I think that, I want to hear opposing views on this. I want somebody to convince me that this wasn't him. I really do. I'm going to be devastated if we find out that this man has murdered his children all because he didn't want to just walk out the door. Can you imagine again that we've got to wrap our minds around all of their almost last moments because he just wanted to be with somebody else? I mean, can you even imagine? That's where are you? I'll be in Houston.
I hope we're wrong. Please prove my instincts wrong.
As to what Patrick just said, sorry, Shane, I just want to say, I personally don't think anybody here is okay with people making the accusations of
Heck
recently.
no.
And so I'm sorry that,
Yeah,
that upset you, and I understand why that upset you. So there's
someone
that.
did say it in the comments today, and I shut it down because they were like, "Oh, I heard that Patrick was essaying Cora." And let
Yeah,
me
I
be clear,
won't do that.
those are very serious
I won't do that.
accusations, and we will not discuss that on our panel. We will not allow it. So I saw it in our comment section today, and I blocked the person because that is not
Block
okay
them.
to say.
I don't want any part of that conversation on my live. I don't want anybody.
Yeah, and Adam,
that is
I'm
something
so
that I would get a lawyer for. We're
absolutely,
allowed
and
to look
Adam,
at real evidence of fraud, but not stuff like that. And that's never been mentioned. I don't even want to
yeah,
mention it on
no,
here.
we have never mentioned it, but it was mentioned today. And Adam, I'm sorry, I did not see that comment yesterday, because if I did, I would have blocked them yesterday too, because
Yeah.
it is not okay. I will not allow that in our chat. Even if someone came on panel and said that, I would drop them and block them immediately.
Yeah, we would. You should know by now, Adam, that we're very good about only talking about what they put out. Like, we're not just making stuff up for clicks and views. We're not going to do that. So I wouldn't allow that, and I don't think any of the ladies on the panel would either. So
We have said this. I said this like 5 days ago that I'll never go there in that conversation. But I also want to say that I'm not about to stifle young girls and women's voices about that topic, but it's totally
Right.
irrelevant at this point to the case. We have no evidence.
Right.
You know.
There's absolutely nothing been said about that. So I don't feel like we're taking a voice away from anybody. I am an SA victim myself, and I 100% believe that women should be able to speak on that. And I do very, very often. However, because there is no evidence, there are no information about that, I don't feel like it's even something that needs to be addressed here.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a heavy topic. Like, if it does come out that is true, that is actually terrible, but I feel like it's not something that we can speak on because there's no evidence. And
they're just running with that because she had a UTI like a couple of times in a row, and kids get that because they don't wipe right, they don't do, and there's all kinds of reasons. But you are not going to get me talking about that on this live, so I prefer just to cut it and not even
Moving right along, girls.
Wrap it up. Let's move on.
Wrap it up. Yeah. Let's not go against each other. And no, I want people to make it make sense to me. Then I'm a black and white person. I need things to line up. I need them to make sense, and then I can make sense of nonsense. But when you've got all these things that are coming out, and the timeline just doesn't work. It just doesn't. And I have not found anybody who says, maybe a few creators on here, like, it's totally possible. I don't know.
Just make the timeline make sense to me. That's all.
Yeah.
Make me understand why they accused her of looking these things up, and then as soon as it was evident that she wasn't in the house when it was looked up, they're withdrawing that information and saying it never happened. Tell me why they would do that.
Right.
That feels dishonest. That feels like someone's being framed, and that feels dishonest. So all I'm saying is we need the evidence, because if this happened to her and not by her, I'm sure as hell not going to be behind putting an innocent woman who's had her 3 children ripped from her arms and had her legs ripped from her life and is in a wheelchair and now her life is over. She's earthbound, but her life is over, and I'm not about to make it worse and spend a lifetime hating on someone who may not have done it.
The bedroom, Shane. I mean, that blew my mind. I cannot make that work at all with her walking around with these gaping wounds, dripping these puddles of red stuff on the ground. But there's none to the door, only on the outside of the door, but not when she shuts the door and locks it. No drips from here to there. How did this happen? I think it was dripping.
And why are you closing the door from the outside? Why are you locking and closing the door from the outside door handle? And how do you get none on the inside? How do you do that?
With no drips.
I'm sorry.
No drips walking over there. It just doesn't make sense. Look up.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for a second. The Mandy Mission, she had stated, make it make sense why someone with no attempts tried 5 different ways in one episode. So just because someone has never, and this is just devil advocate here, okay? So just because someone has never attempted to unalive themselves does not mean that it can happen out of the blue. So, a perfect example, my brother never showed any signs, never tried, never attempted. And one day he just did it. There were no signs. So it is possible for someone to do that without previous attempts.
Absolutely, 100%. It is. Same here. And who I'm talking about, never would have guessed, never tried, never nothing, and then it was done. And that's how it usually goes. Here's my problem with the way Lindsay did it. Again, she's a nurse. There's no way that she's going to attempt 5 different ways to unalive herself, and not one of them is going to be successful to me. She knows exactly what to do. Exactly what to do. Look, I have a best friend, and we both owned my old agency together, and we always said if one goes on hospice, the other one knows exactly what to do to put the other one out of their misery. It'd take about 20 seconds. Just get it over with. I don't want to suffer. We know exactly what to do, people in the medical field, to end our life without any suffering, without falling out a window, snapping our neck, superficial cuts, a crushed. It doesn't happen.
She wouldn't exactly. She wouldn't have done a superficial cut if she really wanted to. She could have just went right for the jugular. I mean, it's not that hard to find. It's right there on your neck. Like, that's what doesn't.
She suffered more with the superficial cuts. It hurt worse than if she had just sliced her jugular. It would have been over like that. She would have bled out in seconds. She would have went unconscious very quickly, like within a couple. Before she pulled that blade away from her neck, she would have been on the floor, period. She suffered. Whoever did this to her and all this shit, that's when she suffered. She knows how to make herself not suffer. She's not stupid. But you think she did all that and then not to be successful?
And can we discuss the thyroid? The mechanism of the fractures to her neck, her C-spine injury, is a mechanism of a hyperflex back of her neck. So she had to go backwards to do that injury to break her neck, and then she had to have a significant impact injury that then went through into her spine and just totally dissected it in the middle.
That
and it was displaced from itself.
It's a compact break. You're right, Shane. It's a compact break. She dropped right on her head, probably snapped her head back when she landed on it because she was thrown out the window. She would have jumped out and landed on her chest. It was only 12 feet, guys. That's not very far. That's not really that far to land. I mean, her arms would have braced. She probably would have had 2 broken arms or forearms or hands. I mean, but there was no compact breaks on her wrist or her hands. She didn't brace for this fall at all. She landed on the top of her head. And that was told by a neurologist. That's how that broke out.
Women usually, women who unalive themselves, they usually choose the less gruesome way. Not saying all the time, but most of the time they do try to choose the less gruesome way, which would be OD. It would be, other things like that. It's not usually this way, and that's why it's just so weird, honestly.
Yeah, and of course, then we need to talk about the thyroid. To crush a thyroid, the amount of force required to crush a thyroid, even though there's no bony structure around it, is actually quite profound. And so how is her thyroid crushed when she has a hyperflex injury of her neck? Because that requires her head to go back, and you can't crush a thyroid tilting your neck back. There has to be a crush element to the front of her throat.
Maybe a forearm.
So maybe, or a foot without a shoe on it. So like a sock on the neck. Then foot.
Crushed her. I think he crushed her. He went like this, her up. I think that's when he attacked her and threw her out the window and thought she'd be, and then he couldn't kill her. And her hesitation. My first day I was up in there, my mother was in the coroner's office for years. It takes a special kind of person to see this.
You're breaking up. darling?
Easy. That all those were hesitations, and there were multiple of them with that. It didn't keep hurting herself over and over again. Nine for slash 9, and she couldn't hit her jugular. I mean, her carotid. Come on.
And then also the wrists as well.
I can't read that.
You know where those main are, and you can't go horizontally and expect it to be perpendicular to the actual artery and expect you to dissect it, which is what your intention is supposed to be. Anyway,
Can I show a evidence photo, or it has red stuff? Is that going to flag us?
Jerry, put her in the big box.
Okay, let me see if I can do that.
I can't.
It has red stuff in it. Is that going to get us flagged or anything?
I don't know.
I can just show you guys in our
I would make
chat,
the picture black and white. That might help from. Does that make sense?
Okay, let me see if it will still look. Hold on, because I'm on my iPad. Okay, yeah, we can still see it.
Photos, and then I think it's sepia or something like that. Will turn it black and white.
Jen, I don't know why, but my mod settings are so different now. I can't do it. I can't expand her.
Hold on.
I can send it in the group chat or something, but
hold on. I'm gonna check her mod status.
I probably don't. I don't have any status.
All right. Yeah, you're at full mod status. I don't know how else to give you anymore. Every toggle's on.
It's okay.
So yes, there was extensive swelling and damage to her throat, which is why ultimately they had to intubate her to preserve her airways. But the actual injury to her thyroid was a crush injury. It wasn't the surrounding tissues and ligaments, it was her thyroid that was crushed, and there was damage to the entire throat area. And again, all that damage and bruising is again very much the amount of force that's required would be like someone putting a foot on your neck and standing on it, or someone holding the chokehold. That would be something we would see if someone had a chokehold on them. Or, I mean, so these are, otherwise, what else? Did she hit her neck on what?
There we go. I just had to change the outline. Now I was able to expand you.
Okay. I just want to show the bedroom because where the blood splatter stuff is. Okay, 1 second. Let me turn my camera.
Can we just say red stuff because she's been getting lots and lots of.
So do you see this part?
Underneath the foot? Yeah. So that's been moved.
And then look right here, that square. That's the foot of the nightstand leaving a mark. It was moved.
So how is she doing that when she's in such a state?
And there's blood under the leg. And why does this kind of look like some toes?
Well, that does look like toes. See that? That does look like toes.
And there's also
now she was found with one sock on, though.
Right.
So she was found with only one sock on.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking. And then look, this is like a scuff, like something was scooted. But this is definitely the leg of that nightstand.
That is, yeah. Yeah, that's very odd.
Yeah, very odd. The blood is under it.
Red stuff.
I'm sorry.
Red stuff.
Russ.
We love the TikTok shop though, guys. It's such a lovely shop.
Yeah, you guys
can buy so many great things on it.
Okay, you can move Jen back up. I just was looking at this and it was like, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so Goose, I'm just going to explain to you that red stuff was actually on the outer doorknob, not the inside doorknob of the room. So it was in the on the doorknob that was in the hallway. Like, can you imagine if you had red stuff on your hands and the door was open and you went to leave the room and you closed the door behind you? That's how you would get that. There's also drips outside the door on the wooden floor, but there's no footprints coming over to the door. There's nothing on the back, the inside doorknob of the bedroom doorknob. Sorry, I'm trying to explain myself as I go. So I don't really know. So the door must have been open prior to it being closed, but I don't really know why it was closed from the outside if she's locked inside. That also makes no sense to me. So again, make it make sense to me. Just give me the evidence and I'm there for it. I'm like, yay. Now I don't have to be so confused.
Adam, I think they were really, I think allegedly, if it was, I think he was expecting her to pass in the hospital. She coded twice. Who's to say that if this is bigger, that someone helped with that coding? You know what I mean? Like, we never know. That's why we question everything. Like, if the cops are helping cover this up, I mean, just think, like, what are they covering exactly?
Yeah, so and I think, the other thing is that we know that from the Chris Watts case that those little girls had been presumed no longer earthbound after he had done what he'd done in their bedrooms. That's what he said. And then they got up, they woke up, they started breathing voluntarily because, muscle memory, and sometimes will spontaneously, if the heart was still beating, start breathing again, which is what they both did. And nothing's to say that wasn't supposed to be the intention here. Imagine there was an intruder. That's just something that is a possibility. So, we have to consider at least, why doesn't it make any sense? I want it to be that as it's been accused of her, because that somehow it'll never be okay. But there's no winners here, even if she's found not guilty, because there's just not enough evidence, or there is enough reasonable doubt. Her life is over. She has no reason to live. She has said, and her prosecutor has said, she doesn't want to be alive even now. She doesn't care about the outcome. She doesn't care. She has no reason to live. And her parents are there. They've mortgaged their house out. They've actually sold their house. They've sold everything. They live in an apartment now, which is in a hotel, just to support her. And she's in a mental institution for the rest of her life. We had better be damn right that that we all get this right.
I agree, 100%. I think we better be damn right, and it better show me beyond a reasonable doubt that she's done this. And if I were a juror at this point, I don't think I'd think she did it. I mean, they've got to be seeing what we're seeing, right?
Oh,
we're seeing
enough
what they're
reasonable
seeing.
doubt. I agree.
It's shocking.
Reasonable doubt tells me no. I would say not guilty if I were a juror based on the evidence alone, because I came into this assuming guilty. I came in biased. I came in absolutely biased that this was,
I would agree.
100% an open and shut case.
Mm-hmm. And then I was the same way. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, this is, she did it. And then now I'm like, well, I really can't say that she did it. This is crazy. Like, nothing is adding up. And if it was so simple, everything would add up. We would not be sitting here discussing whether she did it or not, because this just, the overkill on herself, that just is crazy. Or I don't even know how to word that TikTok safe, but
yeah,
I'm not saying that it's not possible, I guess, but it just seems like, I mean, if you watch the testimonies, I encourage anyone who has not actually watched the trial, go sit down, start day one, watch Patrick's, go look at what every cop is saying. Their stories are not adding up. They just aren't. And I just don't understand, if it's the facts, why are we not adding up? That's just what gets me the most. Like, if they weren't up there lying, I would have no problem, but I can tell they're lying.
No, I would still have problems. Even if they weren't lying, I would still have a multitude of problems with what has been presented to me as a at-home juror with the evidence alone.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have even picked as a juror because I would have been considered biased. I was really coming to see where we had, I wasn't like, I didn't want some vindictive, like, yeah, she needs to suffer. I was like, oh my God, how did this happen? you know, because for all intents and purposes, everyone who knew her, including Patrick's parents, said she was the most beautiful, loving mother. Everyone. All the childcare professionals, all the nurses she worked with, her husband, everyone said. So I was like, how did this go so terribly wrong?
And Mandy, the Mandy mission, the prosecution, I agree. Sometimes I struggle to see what side they're on, and that's why I was like, wait, like, is there actually something bigger going on? Because why are these cops lying on the stand for him? And I think that they get what they want, they catch them in their lie, and then they're done. That's why Reddington doesn't cross-reference or cross-examine some of them, because the prosecution got the lies that they needed to show that this was all them corroborating together to cover this. So that's what gets me. I mean, you have to really open your mind and, write notes. I mean, I have like 20,000 tabs open here of everyone's testimony, and you can go and they'll incorporate. It's just insane.
Now, I've got a question for you guys. In Patrick's work history, it says in his work history on his LinkedIn, I don't know if he's taken it down now, but it says that he worked as a police officer for the Plymouth Police Department in Massachusetts. Does anyone know about that?
No. I know a family member he's got that was chief of
No,
police,
this is not the
but I
same as
haven't
the
heard
brother
now.
/ uncle, which he had retired. I think he retired in 25.
Yeah,
and
his
he had moved
uncle.
into some other area. No, this is actually Patrick, who was
No, I
linked.
didn't know that.
And then when I Google searched what I saw, it said, and I asked AI, it said that yes, the Patrick Clancy linked to the family tragedy in Massachusetts, I don't know how to pronounce it, was worked as a police officer for the Plymouth Police Department in Massachusetts prior to his next career steps. So, that also sort of says to me, oh gosh, were these his buddies? And then one of the police officers that took the stand also is in photos with him and Rachel in Boston. And then
in 2024, right?
I don't recall Dr. ER doctor from the first hospital that we all just went, what a disaster. She also ran in the Boston Marathon with Rachel and Patrick on the 15th, the 9 days prior to the children all being gone. They're all buddies. So that's also very odd to me. That these are the people all on. I mean, yeah, maybe it's a small town. I don't
Jen,
know.
can you see Casey's request? I can't see it.
Hold on. Yeah. She's up.
I can't accept anyone either with my mod status, otherwise I'd be helping out.
Yeah, I used to be able to, but for some reason
I don't know. I mean, I haven't changed. Is Casey up?
No, she's not up.
Casey,
I can't even see who's requesting.
Yeah, me neither.
So I don't know if anyone's
I don't know what
requesting.
happened.
So
When you guys couldn't see me requesting, I had just closed out of TikTok and came back in, and then you guys were able to see me. So try that, maybe just close out of TikTok and come back.
Yeah, do that, Casey. And
Try that.
I saw Casey a second ago, but I went to touch it and then it went away.
We had a really interesting discussion yesterday about the Wi-Fi, and I think it's worth touching on again. Do you want to talk about it again, or is it a bit boring?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we were talking about, you can't have your cake and eat it too. One of the reasons that we don't have any footage from the Clancy's house from either their Nest cameras indoors, and there was Nest cameras in the master bedroom where the incident occurred with Lindsay, and there was also Nest cameras in the basement, the office space that where the babies left Earthside. And so And there was also security footage cameras on the outside. There was floodlight security cameras out the back of the house, above but slightly to the left of the porch, and they would be recording all the time. And he was a tech guy and he was a part of all that, so he had set all that up. And then on the day, the cameras weren't working, and the reason he gave was because the Wi-Fi was out. Now, there's a few things that are a query here, because first of all, the kids are watching TV. Do they have free to air? Maybe. I don't know how it works there. So how are the kids watching TV and eating their nuggets? And
Jesus Christ.
oh my goodness.
You're in Texas. They'll be driving crazy, girl.
It's these trucks just
We
literally
can't really
almost
talk
ran
about.
all off the
Oh my
road.
gosh.
I don't think
Stay
we can
safe.
talk about the fact that
She's
So
in an
be very
Uber, and
careful.
her Uber driver is crazy.
Yeah,
The
your
passenger.
husband.
Spaceship, I'm telling you.
Your
Yeah,
husband
your
is really
Uber
doing a
driver.
good
Light
job.
flash
Tell
before
him to
my
go
eyes.
see Dr. Tufts.
Oh my God.
Look, just tell him to lose a couple of pounds.
Go ahead.
Not a
So
couple of
the,
pounds.
the reason why it's such an issue is that obviously when he got back to the house, he had trouble getting onto the 911 call because essentially the phone was flicking back and forth between the home Wi-Fi and his roaming data. And so I guess there's some confusion about which is it. Was the Wi-Fi out and you didn't get any camera footage because the Wi-Fi was out, or the Wi-Fi was on and that's why you couldn't call 911 easily and it took you 4 to 9 minutes to do that? And so this is a very curious conversation in the timeline as well. So does anyone have anything they want to add to that?
Does anybody what?
Have anything they want to add to that information?
No, it sounded good. Yeah, go ahead. I'm not
You're
gonna
up to
mention- I'm not gonna
Whataburger,
talk
aren't
about
you?
the timeline today. I'm
Girlfriend
not
wants
going to. I want to hear
Whataburger.
y'all's opinions on all that.
Well, it's just curious, how did that happen? How is it that the Nest cameras didn't get anything? A critical Nest cameras in the basement, and in the master bedroom, and critical outdoor security cameras got nothing. Yet, because the Wi-Fi was out, yet the Wi-Fi was stopped him from calling as well. So I guess
Right.
I would like some more information on that.
Mandy, I think Reddington is going to bring that up again. I think that's why he asked these questions that he asked this last week. He wanted him to answer it because I think he already knows. He's going to, again, you always let a liar talk because they will continue to lie to cover up the first lie. And Patrick has done that. Just like she just said, well, either the Wi-Fi was off and that's why the cameras weren't working, but then you were bouncing in between the cellular and Wi-Fi when you got home. And I thought you said the Wi-Fi was out. He's letting him talk. And I think we're all sitting back going, yeah, I thought you said the Wi-Fi was out. Like, why would it be bouncing between the two? It wouldn't. And we showed that last week when I did the 911 call on a phone that was turned off, had no SIM card, turned off the Bluetooth, turned off the cellular data, and I instantly called 911. And I have a metal roof on my house and you can't get service in there for nothing unless you're connected to the Wi-Fi because we have terrible service. Towers, and on the beach, they don't put towers up in Vero because they don't want to see them. They're ugly. So we don't have a lot of towers. So service is very spotty. And it went right through. So Reddington's letting him talk. He's going to ask him. I think we're going to see that this week where that's going to be a huge part of this trial.
And let's just say, let's play devil's advocate. Okay, the Wi-Fi was out temporarily in the house. It was a house thing because the neighbors were still working. So the Wi-Fi came back on. Great. Why didn't the security cameras come back on? And why don't we have footage of her confessing to him lying underneath the cameras? Why do we not have footage of the babies in the basement on the
I
Nest
don't
cameras?
think I did that when I was live with y'all. My husband did it. He went over and turned off the box. We have AT&T underground. So, yeah, we have a box in our house. He went and turned it off. All our cameras, we have the Blink cameras and the Nest outside. And they all went down. They're all on the Alexa. And as soon as he hit it back, the cameras came right back up because the Wi-Fi signal was back up again. So his cameras would have popped right back on had the Wi-Fi come back. Ours did, or unless his is the only ones in the free world that just don't grab the Wi-Fi signal and come back on. It's not like you have to reset them. They just automatically work. And yes, 911 is always going to work. I work in disaster relief. I have been in areas where everything is leveled. Everything. There is zero service. But guess what they can always do? They can call 911 and give coordinates where they are, where they need search and rescue, where they're at, where they need whatever. They can always call 911. That is a satellite call. And it will always, always work. It doesn't, you don't need Wi-Fi for it. So I think he's going to debunk all that this week. I think he let him talk and we're going to see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's what he's doing.
So another question I have about security footage is that the neighbor, Brianna, she was upstairs getting her children's pajamas and she looked over to their house and it was minus 30 there. And she noticed their bedroom window was wide open and she was like, that's weird. Why would you have your bedroom open? It's really cold. And that was before he left. And so then he left and blah. Now she had, once the incident happened, she found out, her and her husband pulled their security footage of the house and the window and gave it to the FBI or whomever was investigating. Don't quote me on who they gave it to. Now, when they did that, the DA said, oh, look, we're taking over now. You don't have to worry about it. Then they rang again. Brianna and her husband rang again the next day and said, did you see all the footage we sent? So why has that not been submitted into evidence? Because it had a view to the window. Surely
they're gonna put it in. The prosecution doesn't want anybody to see that. I think they're gonna leave that to Reddington to put all that in. And I think that we're gonna see all that.
But Reddington can't do it because the FBI and the DA have it. So can he sequester that evidence?
Yeah, he can ask for any of that. Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of evidence that he's going to bring in. Again, I don't think he sat that Apple Watch down for no reason. I don't think he did a lot of things he's done for no reason. I mean, it has nothing to do with their mental health. 90% of the things that he talks about really don't have anything to do with their mental health. In fact, if he did anything, when he was talking to the doctors, he made it sound like she really wasn't that bad. You know, I mean, they've never seen her in psychosis. She had no plan. She never talked about hurting the kids. I think we're going to see that he's going to show that
he's going for reasonable doubt. And we have to remember, guys, that he can only go for reasonable doubt for them not finding her guilty on the first question. And on the second question, if she is found guilty, is she actually, by reason of insanity, not guilty of the crime? And so therefore innocent, but she'll be put into permanent, hospice, mental health care for the rest of her life if she is found guilty, but innocent by reason of insanity. And so, but we have to remember that he's not actually going after Patrick. This has got nothing to do with Patrick or any third party that may have come in the house while Patrick was out and done this. All he can do is cast reasonable doubt. Now, if it ends up being not guilty, she can never be tried again for this. But if it ends up being a hung jury where they can't come to an agreement, then they can either go for her again or they can go for a second party. And so at this stage, the only thing in terms of evidence being presented that is the burden for the defense is to ensure that he's able to cast reasonable doubt if there is reasonable doubt to be cast. And so it's, everyone needs to understand. It's not like they're going to go, ha-ha, gotcha moment. Look, it was, the cook in the, basement with the candlestick and blame someone else. That's not what you're going to hear in this case. You are only going to hear reasonable doubt being cast. And then, perhaps other people, because everyone's like, I can't wait for the arrest to happen. Well, we don't even know. Look at the O.J. Simpson case. He was found not guilty and they went for no one else. And, there was people, children without mother and there was a life lost. And, we're in a country where not necessarily are we going to sort of see justice be not necessarily are we going to sort of see justice be served? So brace yourselves. I'm the only one talking, girls. Come on. Casey, our little Forrest Gump, is running. Okay. Well,
13 miles this week, so that's good. Yes.
Amazing. Good for you.
Yes, it does. It's wonderful. I mean, when I do it, I'm like, I want to do this. I put it off. I don't want to put my stare at my shoes. And then once I'm done, though, I'm very good to go.
Tell me, when you're running, do you find glasses and things that have come off out of their car windows and stuff as you run?
So I always pick up. I have like a little collection jar of all the tires I've saved by the amount of nails and screws that I pick up.
Oh, you're so good.
I'm like a little crow out on the street.
Yeah. And how many mobile phones do you see totally crushed on the road? That's what shocked me. People must put their phones on their roof and then drive off, and everyone drives over them. I've got a collection of phones. I've got a collection of just stuff that goes out the window. There's a lot of Ray-Bans, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of things that I've found that have been interesting. Yeah,
I found a gold bracelet.
When the bears were kind of out, the black bears that we have here, I did unfortunately see some ducks that.
Oh.
And I will say I saved a squirrel one day on one of my runs. I was coming up the loop on this hill, and there was this huge hawk, and I saw the hawk as I was coming up the hill because I was going extremely slow, and I saw that it had the squirrel, and I screamed because I was so shocked, I suppose.
And because you're a mother and you're like, put that squirrel down, naughty hawk.
Yeah, and then I charged it, and it dropped the squirrel, and the squirrel ran off. So that was interesting. And I've been chased by dogs.
That's my worst, actually.
I run near the Cape Fear River, and mostly I just run into a lot of homeless people.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Which some of them are very kind, but some of them are very scary.
Yeah, I kind of have been indoors with my running on my treadmill because I don't know. The black bears being out was there was this area that I was just starting to get so scared every time and was having to take out my thing, and I was just scared. But another reason is, although I live along the water, and where the loop that I run is a very safe neighborhood, if you will, but there's just one person in particular that makes me uncomfortable.
Spidey senses go off.
Yeah. So now if you see me out running, you're going to see a woman who has a pack on the front of her chest.
Oh my gosh, me too. I carry my pew-pew.
So yes, you would see an olive green canvas pack on the front of me, and I have a you-know-what in it. So
yeah, as an Australian, that is the wildest thing to me.
No, you have to around here. Where I jog.
Because of the bears, or because of the...
No, because the people.
I would choose the bear.
Because the people.
I've got two in my Jeep right now.
Yeah, where I run near the Cape Fear River, as a matter of fact, the exact trail that I run, they just found human bones. And I told myself yesterday, I was like, how have I not seen it? I literally run that path, and it was literally right there.
I think that's so cute. She goes, is it because of the bears? No, it's because of the people.
No, it's because of the people. Yeah, no, absolutely. My husband, if I go if I go jogging without it, he will literally find my location and bring it to me.
Now, Cherry, do you use anything else? So I have what you're talking about, and it goes. Ooh, I need to send you a picture of my pack because I think you would really like it. But I have a pack that goes on me like a. It sits on the top of my tatas, if you will.
Yeah, exactly what I have. It's kind of like a cross bag. And I also use that. I bring that, but I also have mace.
So I have that also, and then I also have. I'm going to send you all the goodies that I have. You have to see them because I found a carabiner pokey thing. It's a carabiner it loops onto a loop as a carabiner, but it turns. You can flick it out into a
pokey stabby thing.
Yeah.
And then I also have. What else do I have? I have the birdie. Which is clipped onto the front of me, and all I have to do is pull it off.
Pull it. Yep.
And then it sends out a shrieking noise, and it alerts my emergency.
You know,
do you have bear
you know
spray
where
or anything?
Yeah, we love bears. You know where I live, and my area is a very military town, which means there is a lot of homeless people. And I love to jog near the Cape Fear River because it's just a beautiful scenery as I'm jogging and
It
just
is
thinking.
beautiful. Yeah.
And and a lot of the homeless people that I see are very, very kind, and by now they know me and they'll wave and I'll wave back. But there are a few that are very scary, very like pushy, very like, hey, come here.
Oh my gosh.
And will follow you. One time I had to stop and I had to tell the person, I have a pew and I am not afraid to use it. And he left.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to know what I have to take
to
running,
be from
girls?
Australia or the UK and hear us talk like this? Because honestly, look, it's not that bad, but just in case.
Yeah. Well, look, we've been watching you. I've spent a lot of time in the States, so I do kind of get it, but I just don't because also my general state of like nervous system is not what you guys have to live in and with, unfortunately for you guys, but fortunately for me.
There's a lot of crime
So I'll tell
even
you
in
what I
Australia.
take.
You guys have a really high crime rate out there, from what I understand, just not with the preview sense of it, where I think us as Americans, we're not just going to sit back and let somebody walk into a Denny's and blow us all up. One of us is going to go out fighting. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen this so many times, and I think that or jogging, or this or that.
I'll give you an example. We had with a blade thingy. Yeah. We had one last week in Sydney, and it made the news. And we had another one the week before it made the news. So these things are still making the news. And so I think there hasn't been a pew for a while since the Bondi thing. I was meant to be in Bondi that day. I missed the bus. I was catching the bus with my daughter, my best friend and her daughter. And it was the Harry Potter, that thin purple bus. And we were catching it down to Bondi. We're going to go get ice creams, and we were the last family and we didn't get on. They ran out of tickets, and we were so disappointed. Then we were so grateful we missed it. But we haven't had anything since then. But I'll tell you what I take running. I take chewing gum and a Ventolin, and that's it.
What?
It's just about it. So
chewing gum and a Ventolin, is that what you said?
A Ventolin, like a puffer. I don't know what you Subuterenol, whatever you call it over there.
Albuterol type thing.
Yeah, so I just take those two things. But I'll tell you a funny story if you all want to hear it from when I was in the US. I was doing just a road trip because I love road tripping in the States, and I was doing Yosemite, and we were camping for a week in Yosemite, and it was cold. It was snowy, and it was really, really cold. And so we kind of went to bed early that night, and in our tent, and we had the only camp spot for our tent was it was surrounded by bear boxes, and I was like, oh, and they were like, don't leave anything in your car. And of course, me, really no experience with bears, just scared to death of the idea of them. And I was like, do we really want to do this? Maybe we should just sleep in our car. And they were like, no, don't do that. You will be eaten. So we're like, okay, we'll do the camp thing. We'll use the bear boxes. And so I was quite scared. I went to bed early. It was snowing. And so I kind of snuck out to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, and I went to the big public thing, like there's a big communal toilet like at school, and I got in there and I could hear someone in the toilet next to me, so I didn't feel so alone. And there, I kind of was ready to, it was freezing and I was doing a wee, like all ladies do. And I know you don't say toilet, you say restroom, don't you? So I don't know if you find toilet really offensive, but anyway, I went to the bathroom, the restroom, the ladies' room, and there was someone else in that restroom with me, and I was really pleased. And then I heard a lot of splashing noises, and I was like, oh boy, I'm going to get out of here before anything else happens. And then there was so much splashing, I started to think, what on earth? And so I shone my torch under the door to see and it wasn't feet, it was paws, and they were giant. They were like 3 times the size of my foot, or 5 times the size.
We have them for the bears too, just the 2-legged kind. So.
Oh man, I ran so fast out of there, but he was just having a drink as he was moseying on through. So that was really. I was like, well, I definitely have had the American experience now.
Honestly,
went to the toilet with a bear.
Honestly, the bears don't really bother you unless you bother them. It's the men you have to worry about, to be honest here.
I mean, look at me. I'm traveling across the United States. I've been through 5 states by myself in a hotel parking lot. I was at a KFC last night while you guys were on live in my hotel room. At any given moment, I'm by myself, but it's going to be a cold day in hell before somebody shoves me in their trunk, because I'm going to blow a hole that big from that Kimber that's in my glove box and the little Kimber that's in this thing. But yesterday I had it in my pocket when I'm going, because I don't know who there's crazy people everywhere, but if I'm going down, they're going with me. That's so bad.
We are an open carry. So my state is an open carry state. However, me and my husband got our concealed, and he took me and he showed me how to use it properly. He has one that was way too big for my hands because I have very small hands. So I got one that it fits my hand. It's comfortable. He showed me how to use it as standing, laying, on my knee. So I'm a good shot if needed.
Yeah. The little one right here is a pink 380.
Oh my gosh, I have the same
stick
one.
it in my boots, and that one's a big 9, a big Kimber 9. But either way, he's getting a big old hole blown through his chest. So it don't matter how big or small it is.
I have a
don't
pink.
mess with me.
I have a pink 9, but it's a smaller one. Yeah.
Mine's purple.
Yeah, I have a pink 380 right there. But it's little, so I can just stick it in my back pocket or my thing. And I have an open carry, so they're gonna see it in my back pocket. So if they wanna try fuck around and find out, then fuck around and find out.
Please do.
That's what I'm from Texas. We wait for that moment our whole life.
This is literally the most American conversation I've ever sat in on.
Yeah.
This is women too. It's not even a man's conversation, and we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I would almost say it's almost
it's
more
sad.
a women's conversation these days.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true. I mean, it is what it is. So.
We have to protect ourselves. We can't
Mind
rely on
you,
anyone else.
Carrie Pepper.
Mind
Mika, where are
you-
you at, Mika's mommy?
Wow. Mind you, the bones that they found on the path that I run is from a high school girl that went missing in 2021. And I just keep telling myself how, she's been there the whole time, and I run that at least 3 times a week. And I'm like, how did I never see this?
That is so
You
awful.
So
won't until you do. I'm from Clear Lake, Texas, the home of the Texas killing fields. 38 people. They were in their teens were murdered along that highway. They're still digging up bodies. I think it's up to 46. That was the boogeyman.
I
when
watched
was
that
growing up.
documentary.
You were going to end up in the Texas killing fields, because that's what happened where I live. So there ain't no way. I was taught very early to arm myself, and I'm glad, because I don't want to be in some Texas killing field.
I'll be
digging up my
honest.
bones.
I wish we could at least carry pepper spray, but we're not even allowed to have pepper
Wow,
spray.
that's crazy.
We
Casey,
can't
did
have
you
anything.
Casey, did you hear about that case on the news in your area? Because I know you're in the same state, but I don't know if you heard about that on the news.
Yeah, I did take
I hadn't heard about that. And speaking of that area, there's what was it? I don't know how I came across it, but it was it was on the base, I believe it happened, or right outside the base. It's an old crime story. I'll look for it and send it to you. And I had seen it once upon a time and thought, what in the world?
Wow.
As to what you're talking about, no, I was wondering. I hadn't heard about that. What?
Okay, so look it up. It just happened last week. They found her. She's a girl from 2021, and she went missing. I'll send you the link so you can see it. But also, they had a case right outside the base called the Ramsey Street Rapist. Have you heard about that?
Grapes. The
I'm
Ramsey
wondering.
Street
I'm wondering if
grape
that's.
seller.
I'm wondering if that's the one I may have seen.
Because they just found him in like 2020, and he has been doing that to women on Ramsey Street since 1999.
Oh
That's
God.
crazy. That's crazy.
Whew.
And they don't want us to be able to arm ourselves. Can you imagine? You can't even protect yourself in your own home. There ain't no
Just
way.
by the sheer number of people in the United States, it's just, you know, it's just such a. How many people do you have there now?
Where?
How many people are
in the United
on Earth?
States? No, on Earth. A quintillion. No, how many people are in the United States?
Oh gosh, I don't
Who
know,
knows?
100 million.
Is it
something like that?
130 million or something?
Yeah, something like that.
It could be more. Actually, I have a feeling
lot.
it's more.
A
It might
lot.
be 400. Who knows? Come on, someone in the chat. How many
I
people are in the
Seriously,
United
too
States?
many.
I think like 118 million or something like that. Isn't it something like that? Like right around 120 million people in the United States.
Let me check. I gotta look.
Yeah, I could be wrong. Especially after the last White House. God knows. I have no idea. But I think that's crazy living in a country where you can't even carry pepper spray.
You
Like,
got
that's
350
mind-boggling.
million of you. That's
Oh,
how come you
Jesus,
need to
really?
carry 350 million.
350.
That's why you have to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
there's
people.
A lot of crazy people here.
I'm in Oklahoma, and I-40 runs through Oklahoma, and I-40 is one of the most dangerous highways because there's like just been hundreds and hundreds of murderers that use I-40 as a way to find their victims and hide their victims, and it's crazy.
I was trying to
We
green
have a
screen
road
it
like
for
that in
you.
Australia.
I was trying to green screen it for you, Casey, but for some reason I can't, so I'll message it to you.
Hey,
Yeah, we
because I
have a
looked it
road
up
like
and I
that
couldn't
called
find
the
it.
Belangolo National Forest, and we had a man that used to pick up hitchhikers, and he did it over like a 19-year period. And when they finally started finding them, it was just like tree after tree after tree after tree. And he kept going back and looking at all his trophies, and it was one of the bigger cases in Australia. I was talking about some interesting documentaries about true crime in the US that I have found fascinating. And one of them is called American Nightmare, and it's on Netflix. And it's like jaw on the floor stuff because it's the most unlikely, none of the facts made sense. And everyone was like, "No, you're lying." And then it's just very interesting. And then it's trying to determine if the facts were real or not. And if you like true crime, I think it's 3 episodes. It's well worth watching if you like true crime. And then the other one is Unknown Number School. I don't know. I can't remember now. But it's also good. Oh. We have to be careful what we say because of TikTok shop. We love that TikTok shop. Wild. Mm-hmm.
Action, whatever it may be, because you want to have a conversation about it. I mean, it could just be for that purpose, but it just is, there's some things that are going on that I feel have gone too far. And I think reaching out, I think trying to send messages to anyone like that, I don't agree with
And
any
it could
of
really
this.
mess up the investigation
It
too.
could, yeah.
Like if they're trying to, turn the tables, and then people are doing all these crazy things, like it could really mess up what to get to the truth, to get justice. Like I feel like people are losing the plot. This really is a tragedy, and children lost their lives. And we just want the truth. Did the mother do it? Because we don't want to put someone behind bars who doesn't deserve to be there. And if something really, really bad happened to her, why are we just going to sit here and be okay with a man yet again trying to get away with doing something terrible? Like that's not America. Like we don't stand for that.
That's really, it shouldn't be anywhere in the entire world that we would do that. And unfortunately, it is something that has been experienced forever and ever and ever by women. And so it's about time there was a united front of like, no, we need to make sure that we get this right. I mean, what concerns me is that there are a lot of people whose licenses are currently suspended. There are a lot of law enforcement involved in this investigation. And there are a lot of people that are invested in where we're at. And so I think it's, there's a lot of silencing happening at the moment, and some of the bigger creators are being warned. And just so you know, we can see a hand on a wheel there. So I don't know if TikTok's going to be okay with that.
You can see what?
A hand on a wheel.
Oh.
That's it. That's better. I can't see you and I can't see Will.
In about 10 miles, take exit 798 onto State Highway 1.
Yeah, so I think, there's a lot more at play, and there's a lot of people that have got a bigger stake in this and their careers and their reputations. And I think there's a little bit of, there's a little bit of hush-hush going on, which I think is wildly inappropriate and incredulously corrupt. At the same time, to play to play to both sides. If this was done to Patrick and he came home and he had no idea this was going to happen, I equally am not going to sit here and just slag him off. And so I just want the evidence to speak for itself. And I think everyone should be really careful about making any blanket statements.
Yeah.
That's all. This is all just ideas we have, and we're trying to make sense of the timelines, and we're trying to make sense of the things that don't make sense to us. And there's nothing wrong with questioning the evidence. In fact, that's what everyone's meant to do. But, I'm also not going to make up a story that then 6 other people are in on it, and then, 4 people came to the house, and then 2 people were in another restaurant pretending to be him, and then someone else dressed up as her. I'm not interested in any of the nonsense. I just want the facts to make sense that I've been presented with, because that's what the jury has to deal with. So that's what I'm interested in.
Agreed. Well, I'm about to pull. My Uber's about to arrive, and I am pulling in. But I'll be available at 6 if you guys want to come on. I don't know about you ladies that are across the pond, because I know y'all need to get some sleep. But
yeah,
we will see what happens this evening. If y'all are awake, let me know, and then we can maybe.
But definitely tomorrow and
tomorrow for sure.
Tomorrow, yeah, after court, and depending on, I don't think I get on most of the day, but I might. I don't know. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I might be working out of my hotel room, so I'm not sure, but we can reconvene definitely after court tomorrow.
Wonderful. Yeah. Sounds good.
Well,
court tomorrow.
Guys, get some rest. We gotta get back on the jury tomorrow, so.
All right, kids. Well, have a good drive. I'm glad your Uber's got you there nice and safe. I do have a question. How much did it cost you over 5 different states and 600 miles? How much was your Uber trip, mate?
Huh?
How much was your Uber trip? Was it really expensive?
I can't hear.
Oh, never mind. All
I,
right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it kind of was. Very expensive. 6 states later, here we are. But I'm in Texas, the most beautiful state in the United States, I think, and so I'm very happy to be home. So, yeah, I'm gonna
Yay.
go and eat a lot today and take a nap because I'm tired.
All right, guys.
And see my kids. One of my daughter's here too, so I'm excited to see her.
Yay,
So
sleep
I'm about to pull in
well.
at her shop right now. So. Yeah, so
Sleep
everybody
well,
get some rest.
kids.
If we're on later, we're on later. If not, we'll reconvene tomorrow.
All right,
Alrighty.
bye. We'll have a
Y'all
fun
have a good
day. You
one.
All
guys
right.
are all awake now. We're sleeping. See you,
Yes.
All right.
kids.
Bye,
Bye.
ladies. Bye. I love
Bye.
Texas too, Lynn. All right. Bye, guys.
Welcome home.